Hello and welcome to this, our first case video review. We've got the Coolermaster HAF932 finished in black, which is quite nice, I must admit. It comes as standard with 4 fans, which I'll show you shortly. And as you can see, the black is only on the outside, the inside is horrible grey. On the back panel here we've got some thumb screws for both side panels, makes life very easy removing them, and also a water cooling plate that also doubles as a power supply holder as well. Just gone past 140mm fan mounting, and then you can have a bottom power supply instead. You've got plenty of PCI slots on the back. And on the top you've got a 230mm fan which can be swapped out with 2 or 3 120mm fans which also will fit a radiator. And then on the front there's a little space for your knickknacks and USB pens or whatever. On the side panel we've got some windows and some mesh with a fan on, another 230mm special, and it's also got some vents next to the hard drive panel as well. Now this area for knickknacks here also has a fill port hole, which is the ideal size for your danger den fill port if you were going to use water cooling. Fits just in there. There's mounting points underneath in the metal casing, and then we've got a power button and a reset button. They're both a little bit tacky to the feel, but I'm sure they do the job perfectly well. Moving round to the front, isn't my driveway wonderful? We've then got the standard I/O ports on the front, 4 USB, an eSATA, a FireWire, and the audio ports as well. Moving on to the fan bay covers. You can have 6 5.25 inch bays, or you can have 5 with a 3.5 inch bay exposed. On the side panel, as I said, the top area is perspex and the bottom is mesh with that huge fan on. It's a little difficult opening the side panel with only one hand, I'm sure you'll bear with me. Now these fans are rated at 700 RPM. They're supposed to move 110 cubic feet a minute. I can't imagine that happening somehow. As I say, you've got a perspex window with cross hatching on, and then this enormous fan. But you can also replace that for 4 120mm fans, or you could put 2 radiators on there if you wanted to, if you really felt the urge. Unfortunately, on the inside, this nasty, horrible grey bare metal paint needs a really good respray to make it look the bee's knees. What is good though is it's got a fan grill on that enormous fan, so you can't chop your fingers off because they are pretty sharp. Going inside, again the nasty grey interior. I do wish they would have bought some more paint for this thing. All the CD bays have the toolless design. You just press the button and some pins come out and hold on to the bay, and as I say, you can have 6 there. Quite nice feel, those pins. Inside there's a 3.5 inch bay adapter, and then onto the hard drive mounts, which again are toolless. Just pull them open, slide it out, slot your CD drive, or your hard drive in there rather. No support for solid state drives, I must admit, bit of a shame, but there we go. Once your drive's in, just slide it back into place and close the latch. None of this messing around with screws all the time. And just in front, another 230mm fan. Unfortunately, or depending on how you look at it, it is red illuminated, so it doesn't leave much for illumination colours. Down the bottom you can fit another 120mm fan down the bottom, or 2 if you decide to mount the power supply elsewhere, and you can have long power supplies by moving that adjustable slide out the bottom. On the back of the motherboard tray there's an enormous hole cut out for the processor, so you can put on water block mounting backboards and things. And then there's that 140mm fan, and the PCI slot covers are toolless as well. Just a case of bending that clip out of the way and it will come off in your hand. Maybe Coolermaster can't think that we don't know how to use a screwdriver with all these toolless designs, who knows. As I said, this fan can be replaced with a 320 radiator for all you water cooling people out there. I know I'll be doing it on this case. Or you can just put 2 or 3 120mm fans on there. But to be honest, that 230 is pretty quiet when it's spinning up. Then you've got these cables for the front I/O ports. They're actually quite long, which is always nice, although it might make hiding them a little difficult. And as you can see, we've got USB ports, the power and the reset switch, and then that SATA lead. With the other panel off, there's loads of holes to route all your cables, so the nice side with the window in isn't a rat's nest of cables. You can hide them all behind this tray. All these holes have all been folded over metal, so you won't cut yourself to ribbons on them. A nice touch by them, don't you think? And then we've got that fan, and you'll notice the backs of the CD bays, they aren't toolless, so if you do decide that you want to put screws in, then you can. There's actually quite a lot of space behind this area as well, so you could always try and hide those front panel leads behind there. Onto the front, I've taken a few of the bay covers out already, and they're actually quite solid in there. They don't wobble or rattle, which is always handy. Nothing worse than having a rattly case. And these are quite well made. And as you can see, they've got buttons on either side which you just push in, and the bay covers will just pop out. Standard Coolermaster things. And this front massive bezel here, it does come out. I had loosened it, it doesn't just fall off in your hand. And it does have mesh on it, but it doesn't have any filters or anything, so with all these fans in, it may become a bit of a dust trap. And as you can see, there's that fan there, and when it will be on, it will be illuminated red. Also in the box we've got the instruction manual. Tells you what a case is. Well, we never really read that anyway, do we? Let's be honest. And it has a 5.5-inch bay with a 3.5-inch hole in it for any card readers or anything like that. You won't cut your finger on it, it is very smooth. And also a nice addition is a 4-pin extension lead for your power supply, as the case is so enormous. And then we've got the usual screws and some cable ties and some management tips. We don't really do that anyway. Everyone's got enough bags of screws to make another computer probably, if you're anything like me. But it's a handy addition anyway. And we've also got some feet and some wheels. Now, because the case is so heavy and it's stock, these wheels are really quite handy, especially once you've started putting water cooling in. It gets to be a bit of a weighty beast. All in all, this case is very good for stock cooling and water cooling alike. With the enormous fans in, you shouldn't need to replace any fans at all, and your system should run very cool indeed. As for water cooling, the fact that you can fit radiators in it without having to mod it makes it a very exciting case. A lot of people don't like the way it looks, but I think it's either love it or hate it, I would have thought. That's all for me. Maybe we'll have another one soon. Cheers.